When I first heard about this series, I became mildly excited. The one reservation I had is that I wondered if a story we've been watching over the course of the entirety of my life in movie format would be able to have the same impact as a TV show. And after watching the first episode of this series, I have to admit I'm still left a bit wondering. Episode 1, entitled Neverland, starts with superimposed text explaining to us that it is the year 2120 and that there are essentially 5 companies that rule the universe by way of the race for immortality, that there are now 3 ways in which that goal is sought to be achieved: by AI, by cyborg, and by synthetic. We then find out that the ship, the USCSS Maginot, was sent to faraway planets to collect specimens to be brought back to Earth, including the facehugger, so you already know that this is going to be where the problem comes in. Now, in the opening scene, we see the crew come out of cryosleep to eat and talk, only to go back into cryosleep, which I thought was kind of weird, and then we see quick flashes of the ship being commandeered by a xenomorph, so I guess that's that on that. Now, I didn't like the opening scene because it looks like the writers woke an entire crew out of cryosleep for a data dump, and again, given how we typically watch these stories, I would have liked to see the ship be taken over by the xenomorph. That has always been where the movie's bread has been buttered. We do get to see a cyborg in action here in Morrow, which I thought was a good narrative idea, even though he gives zero fucks, which I guess is in line with the thinking of a machine, right? I also noticed that the production design favors the old Alien movies instead of the later ones, except Romulus, and I prefer the aesthetic of Prometheus and Alien Covenant, but that's just me. Now, a large chunk of the episode focuses on Wendy, a sick girl who was selected to be the first person to be downloaded into a synthetic body, and this takes place on an island called Neverland, owned by Boy Cavalier, the youngest trillionaire ever, who makes several more synthetics after Wendy. Now, this was an interesting plot point, but I have no idea how exactly this will contribute to the story moving forward at this point, as the show deals with several themes and sub-themes already. And finally, at the end of the episode, we get the ship crashing into a building in New Siam, and Wendy's brother is dispatched to locate and help survivors. Wendy, who has been watching him on screens from Neverland, sees this and volunteers to take her synth friends to save him, and this is where the episode ends. Now, overall, I give this episode a 65% or 6.5 if you're thinking IMDb score. I thought the first episode of this series was just on the right side of okay. I think some of the visuals were definitely interesting, which gives me a sense that the direction is going to be pretty good over the course of the season. I thought the writing was fine, the acting more than serviceable, with a couple of faces I enjoyed seeing in a story like this. Shout out Timothy Oliphant. But movies and TV shows are different down to their structure, and I already see how the change in structure has affected the telling of this story. And ultimately, I think how the xenomorphs get integrated into the story over the next 7 hours remaining is going to be paramount in the series' overall impact. Because I think that when you take an iconic film franchise like Alien and you decide to make it into a TV show, you have to do so preserving what made the movie franchise iconic in the first place.